In this video, we're going to look at against the spread betting or handicap betting in the AFL and how every team has gone over the past 5 years. So just quickly, when we're looking at line, handicap, spread betting, we're focused on these markets here. So Sydney -8.5 or Melbourne +8.5. So for example, if Sydney were to win this game by 9 points or more, they would cover. So that would be a win against the spread. Or if Melbourne won the game or lost the game by up to 8 points, they would also cover the spread. And what you'll notice here is this is a $1.90 markets. You can sometimes get $1.91 as well if you shop around. And to make money betting on these markets, you need to win at 52.4%. That's your break-even point. So when you've had 100 bets, if you've won 53 of them and level staked them, then you would be profitable. And what's very, very interesting is if you just back the same team, you'll notice in the overall records, a lot of these teams are close to 50%. Most of them are a touch under, but there's very few in the overall records that are, that 54% or higher. And if we look a little bit deeper over the past 5 years, the numbers are very, very even. Home teams have covered 501 games and underdogs have covered 525. So there's really not that much room to move between, like, if you always back home teams or always back underdogs. But what we can look at is backing teams in different situations. That's what I'm going to go through in this video. I'm going to break down the teams that are best in different situations and the teams that are worst in different betting situations. Just quickly, though, also reflecting on these past 5 years since 2019, we can see that home teams have had a winning record against the spread in 3 of the 5, and underdogs in the AFL have had a winning record in 4 of the 5, being 2022, the only year favorites had a winning record against the spread if you backed every favorite at the closing line. So looking into these numbers, the best team against the spread over the past 5 seasons has been the Richmond Tigers. They've covered at 54%, so going 61 and 53 during that time. And the worst teams against the spread, Hawthorn only going at 45% and Collingwood only going at 46%. And now when you're looking at these numbers, you can definitely expect Hawthorn and Collingwood both to increase those numbers closer to those 50%. But what I care more about is looking at teams who are really good in different situations. So the criteria to be really good in a certain situation, you need to have played 20 games in that situation. So we're looking at home, away, favorite, underdog, and you see the categories down the side. So we're not just looking at like 3 games where they covered all 3. We need at least 20 games. So then there's actual decent criteria for us to look at. So the best team in any situation with at least 20 games is Collingwood as an away underdog. So I just mentioned Collingwood have one of the worst records overall, but as an away underdog, they've covered 19 of 28 games in the past 5 seasons, going at 68%. So that's well above the percentage that you're needing to break even. Next, we have Richmond. Richmond as a favorite by -15.5 to -30, going at 67%. You definitely want to be able to keep track of these and write these down. And I track these numbers throughout the season, so make sure that's something that you're doing. Sydney at 65% as an underdog. So here, the Sydney Swans 32-17. Sydney also as an away underdog performed at 64%. So looking for Sydney in away games, but especially when they're an underdog. Carlton as a small underdog. So if we look here, Carlton 64%, 25-14 when they're an underdog of half a point up to +15 on the spread. And the other team that performed really well with quite a number of games is the Gold Coast Suns when they are a favorite. 25 games and they covered 16 of those. Another one that's on the up when we look at the Western Bulldogs as a home underdog have covered 8 of 10 in this situation. So they're going at 80%, but there's not that much data, only the 10 games where I'm looking for ones with 20 or more. Also, what we want to look at is teams that have been really bad in certain situations, because when we find games where both of them match up, you've got a team in a really good situation and a team in a really bad situation, that's an even better betting opportunity. So some of the worst situations, Carlton as a home favorite going at 32% from 25 games. Gold Coast as an away underdog going at 34%, 44 games in that category. St Kilda will come along to the side here. So St Kilda during rounds 9 to 16, so the mid part of the season, only going 34% from 35 games. Collingwood as a home favorite, definitely being overbet, and the betting companies taking advantage of everyone wanting to back Collingwood at home and going 35% from 46 games over the past 5 years. Also, Collingwood as a favorite, minus 15.5 to minus 30. 20 games there, only covered 7. Hawthorn, when they're a small underdog, so Hawthorn already have a bad record, but it's especially bad when they're a small underdog, only covering 13 of 37, going at 35%. And West Coast, when they're a home underdog, so here, 23 games, only covering 8 of those. Also have a little honorable mention, GWS as a home underdog. And as I spoke about in the season preview, GWS at home is a key area for them to improve. Only the 18 games here, so under the 20 required, but they only covered 6, going at 33%. So these factors and the situational factors are what you want to pay attention to if you want to make money betting on the AFL this season. When you combine this information, so you're understanding what the betting companies are doing, combined with looking at the statistics and analytics for each individual team, that's how you can find winning bets every single week. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be posting more videos like this. We're going to be looking at the total points, so the total points line, whether teams go over or under, in an upcoming video. So make sure you keep an eye out if it's not already posted to watch that video as well. And then all season long, I'm going to be tracking this data through investor.bet.com.au.